Welcome to Anything Cricket. Let's talk. Well, always good to see you, Hartley Reid. And of course, with the women's cricket being played regionally, we know that we're going to hear you as much as we see you. But before we get into the talk about the women's cricket, of course, we all know that just within the last day or so, we had the sad news of the passing of a former Barbados and West Indies cricketer, Thelston Payne, who was known not only for his exploits on the cricket field, but beyond that, as a coach and a mentor. And um, I can almost use the word influencer. That's something that so much used now in social media, but in influencer in the sense that he will influence the lives of many people around cricket based on the feedback that has come my way. Certainly very sad news. I know you will be very familiar with Thelston Payne, who has made a tremendous impact in local cricket.
Yes, greetings, Philip, and to the viewers, the listeners. It is indeed a sad moment for us in Barbados, and I would extend it to the Caribbean and even further afield. But personally, yes, Teston was, we go back a long, long way, but we would have played cricket, we would be interfaced with each other. Teston Payne was the consummate cricketer. In fact, only this today, we were, and I was in another forum, we were talking, and we were trying to think of if there was anything negative one could actually say about Teston Payne. He was one of the most pleasant human beings on God's earth. When it came to cricket, very competitive, very competitive. But even out on the field, you're his opponent, and he will still find time to critique your game and say what you're doing right from what you should not be doing, what you're doing wrong. And then when you got off the field, and then when you were St. Catherine, his home, I mean, Teston Payne, where you were ground, I was a policeman, so yeah, remember, I don't care. I was also an umpire. So whenever I interfaced with something, it was one thing. But when you go and he was your host, you were St. Catherine, it was something else. Teston pulled out all the stops. There was nothing that St. had to offer that Teston Payne was not the person. He was he was a gentleman and was one of my favorite batters. He could bat. Oh my dear, he could bat. And it wasn't often that you enjoy watching your opponent bat because I can remember I've gone history. I stopped testing in a 50 over a limited over match. Barclays playing St. Catherine, and I later regret it because he smiled and he and he said, "Really, boys." So he went on, and St. Catherine won the game, and we were in the ascendancy at the time. His contribution to cricket is immeasurable. There aren't many persons in this country can talk about whether you represented your club, represented Barbados, or even higher when he played the West Indies. He gave 100%. And to his family, his many friends, former colleagues, you name it. It is indeed a sad time, and I extend condolences to everyone, and may he rest in peace. He has done well.
And certainly, I don't think there's anything that you said there, Hartley, that anyone will disagree with. In fact, those are words that you will continue to hear over and over again. In fact, um, there were a couple of people who I reached out to and who reached out to me. And I'm going to share a couple of tributes for the benefit of our viewers.
Today, when we got the news, our world paused. My world paused. Then bang! It hit me. Don't get in line with the sharp ball when you're pulling or hooking. Get outside or inside the line, son. Coach Carew lamented with swag in his voice. That same swag he demonstrated when playing the rocking chair in that photo at Leicester Vaughan, remember? How did you manage to get that right leg so high in the air being above 50 years old? Just absurd, ridiculous, legendary. Pulling with that back leg grounded only, heels off the ground. Pivoting on the ball of that back leg with absolute fear and swag. Were you born on a balance beam, sir? A master, St. Catherine's stalwart, proud Philippine, role model, my dad, left-handed batters, gloves men, similarities that connect us, mold us. I refuse to write in past tense only. I have to switch in and out cause the present tense feels better. It keeps the pain away. It helps bear the pain that we are feeling, that we all are feeling. Moments and fond memories that you entertained us with are cemented in our hearts, and we will carry on your wonderful legacy forever. A humanitarian, a real amazing human being, a cricketing legend, icon. Tendulkar, Lara, Dhoni, Kohli, Thompson, Lily, Sobers are all role models, but you are my hero, Coach Payne, forever in our hearts. May you rest in peace and rise in glory until we meet again, Coach. Coach Payne coached three St. Catherine wicketkeeper batters that went on to play for Barbados, Patrick Brown, yours truly, and Tevin Walcott. Patrick played for West Indies, and hopefully Tevin can go on and play for the West Indies.
You know, it's a mystery to me how we can emphatically say to our peers, live sharp, boy. We ain't know when we number calling. And then have to face a call number of one of our very own. I mean, how do we process it? How can we process it? Payne was a father, an uncle, a coach, a guardian, a mentor, a motivator, and even an entertainer. How do we really process this one? Regarded as a stalwart and the backbone of not only the St. Catherine's Cricket Club, but the local cricket fraternity as well. Payne was loyal to a fault, correcting bad shots and praising the good knocks and strokes. He touched and impacted the lives of so many, an undoubted void that can never be filled. It was really only 2 weeks ago that Payne and I sat at our beloved St. Catherine's Club, where he was bemoaning the strokes of some of our players. With the strength that was Payne, the ever burning passion for cricket was dancing in his eyes. This is too hard to comprehend and doubly hard to accept. Wednesday has officially become the most painful day of my week. Life at St. Catherine's will never be the same. Rest well, my friend, my confidant, my forever hero.
So there you heard it. Thelston Payne is gone to, well, he's done his work for sure, and work that has been well appreciated by all reports. All I can do, and I suppose many of us can do no more than offer prayerful support to his family and friends at this time. But Thelston Payne, club cricketer, Barbados cricketer, West Indies cricketer, coach, mentor, and in all those aspects of the game and of life, I think we can truly and honestly say a job well done. Well, Hartley, the action continues on the field, and the women have been ruling the field. Some people say they always rule, but we won't get into that now. We'll stick to the cricket. And I know you've been following the fortunes of the women in the regional competition. It has brought some heated debate, sometimes boiling over in certain spaces that we frequent. So, what is your overall response to the women's competition so far? Not only from the Barbados point of view, from that as well, yes, but also from the point of view of the bigger picture, West Indies cricket, West Indies women's cricket.
Philip, from the outset, let us compliment and congratulate Cricket West Indies for finding the space to have this regional cricket where they can have all except one, because DeAndre Dutton is the only player that is not available out being fit to take part in the regional competition, which is not often the case. So I must say congratulations to all those CEO and his staff for putting on this tournament. Congratulations to the St. Kitts Nevis Association and all those who have been behind the scenes, because I have seen so far the Warner Park and then Connery, and those two pictures, I had no complaints. In fact, Connery, I don't know how Connery has gotten so big, because St. Kitts is not that big, but from what I am seeing in the streaming, the Connery looks good. So the logistics, when it comes to the game and the hosting, 100%. I have no problem there. I'm not too happy with the officiating, but I am being a cricket umpire and administrator, the whole thing. I critique the officials, because that was my responsibility also as the president of the Great West Indies Association. So when I see my colleagues and when you see colleagues missing balls and you can't count 6 balls, I struggle when you can't count 6 balls, and that is a problem having with somebody umpire. But the cricket itself, that Barbados is doing exceptionally well, because I know of the Barbados. I know what we do here in Barbados. I know what standard is here in Barbados. I am not happy, and I must say I am not happy with what I'm seeing. I saw the Trinidad and Tobago team, Barbados play there. Then I saw the Barbados playing Guyana. Yesterday, after the Barbados and the game, I tuned in to watch the ending of the Jamaica Trinidad game. And I'm not happy with the standard of the standard of the players at all. So, I have said it in other fora, and I'm going to say it again. Cricket West Indies, this is their cricket. And if we're going to franchise cricket for the men, and we can also do a similar thing with the women. We are hearing reports about the Leeward Islands team. I have not seen the Windwards yet, but judging from what we're hearing about the Leeward Islands team, it is not right. I must say that judging from what I saw with the Jamaica cricket is woefully lacking too. They cannot give me a competitive looking squad for the game that what I've seen so far. So Cricket West Indies, they have to get that pool of cricketers, and the territories that have a surplus of cricketers, put them in those areas so that we, the stakeholders, as well as the selectors, can see the best that we have. It does not make sense certain territories sticking to they only playing their own, and what we are seeing, it is not inviting to watch. So at the outset, that is what I have to say. The cricket, I'm happy that we have been able to get the cricket and to see the women, but I am not happy with the women that I am seeing.
Hartley, there's always talk about competition, both in men's and women's cricket, and the concern is often expressed that there's not enough competition to really get players coming through. And I don't think that one could argue about that. But my concern is that sometimes when I listen to the various debates, I get the impression that there's a belief that that is basically what is required, that you have these competitions and these opportunities, and women will come through. I can actually reference a comment or two where just recently someone was saying that they're hoping for 2 or 3 women to come through in a particular context of the tournament. Someone actually made that comment. Then someone else questioned it, why only 2 or 3? And I'm there thinking all along, well, if all you're doing is playing a tournament, you're lucky if you get 2 or 3, because it needs to be so much more. I get the impression sometimes that people think cricketers emerge something like how the rain falls or the sunshine and that, because those are things that we as human beings don't really influence. At least we shouldn't be trying to influence them anyhow. Whether that day from night, dry from wet, high tide, low tide, those are things that it's not our role to influence those things. We're not expected to influence those things. But we certainly need to influence the development of a cricket team and the development of cricketers. And I'm not so sure that we understand that. So you're going to have tournaments every weekend. And you put the women out there. And yes, some will improve. Some will just get frustrated and go away. What I'm trying to say is that these women need to be taught. Partly when you grew up, as like many before you grew up and you were in an environment where you were virtually immersed in cricket. To the point where even Hartley, your little sister, playing cricket with the guys. Because it's like everybody played cricket. And therefore, there was a lot of opportunity for what we call incidental learning. So nobody might be showing you how to hold the bat, but you see everybody else holding the bat a particular way and you hold the bat. That's not West Indian culture as it exists now. So if you hold tournaments and throw these women out there, we must be disappointed because who is teaching them, Hartley? And that's my concern. I'm not sure if we recognize the amount of work that needs to be done to teach these women how to play cricket.
Philip, you are an educator. You understand what teaching is. I was a police officer. I know what it is to train. You have identified what we have been trying to get over to the persons who believe that, as you said, the stars come up the sky. The stars don't come up the sky, that you can see them in the sky, but they don't fall. Simply put, we no longer have the avenues. We don't have the systems in place where people play cricket in the road. You just enunciated. So we have to train. But contrary to what a number of people believe or want you to think that they believe, that you cannot teach people how to play cricket. It is utter madness for other people to work. You can teach people anything once they are willing to learn. And it's just an ordinary, it's an adaptation of your hands and your eyes and your brain and your legs. It isn't anything out of the moon. So simply put, I have been saying, in fact, you put it quite succinctly just now when you stated that you can play as many competitions as you like. If you are going to play competitions like what I'm saying with some of the competitors, it is a waste of time. We have to get each territory to seriously look. I don't know how much you don't know about what goes on at Cricket West Indies, but I am told that Cricket West Indies gives each territory, and there are six of us, six territories, money every month or every 2 months for the development of the cricketers. I do not know where the money goes. I am not in the system. But if that is true, if it is true that each territory is given money to develop cricket, that then Cricket West Indies must call them to account. Let me see what you're doing, and stop giving them the money. But you cannot be giving people money and only putting it in the men's cricket and not the women's cricket when it is one pool and it's for all the cricketers. And it is clear that most of our regional territories have turned a complete blind eye towards women's cricket.
Yeah, Harley, I don't know how one will change your mindset, but and you quite rightly pointed out my background as an educator, and therefore I know what I know. I've been exposed to what I've been exposed to. How do you get other people to understand that you're not making this up, that what you're talking about is already tried and proven? It's just that they may not be in that situation to know. It is very unfortunate because in addition to any involvement as an educator, I also lived in two countries where cricket was not, let's say, the most widely played sport, and one in particular, and that's the Cayman Island. And in fact, I can tell you, Hartley, picture this, that you're working in a school with children as old as 11, 12 years old, and you're exposed to others who may be 13 or 14. But let's go back to those up to 12 years old. And try to picture and imagine, Hartley, that the only person, some of these children, you're doing, let's say, a PE lesson or a cricket coaching session. And about 90% of those children, possibly 100%, the only person that they've ever seen play cricket is you. You're the coach. You're the teacher. Try to picture that. Because even in this day and age in Barbados, and remember, I'm going back 25 years or so. Okay? I'm not saying that it's necessarily so now. In fact, it will not be that now because of the developmental programs that have been put in place. And there's a lot more cricket on television. Back then, you didn't have all this cricket on television. And even if, and what cricket you did have, the average child is not be sitting in front of a TV watching this cricket because it's not in their DNA, it's not in their culture. Their parents are not cricket people. They're just not going to do it. There are two cricket grounds on the island. Which 8-year-old is going to leave his home to go to one of those two grounds on a Saturday by himself to watch cricket? And he's not going to the parent because the parent's not involved. So I just paint that picture to show you. But yet there are people in the Cayman Islands who were born there who can play cricket. How did they learn to play cricket, Hartley? Somebody taught them. So yes, you can be taught to play cricket. I've never been to Kenya, okay? So I can't speak with, and I've not researched it heavily, but I can't imagine that cricketing, that the culture of Kenya 25, 30 years ago was of such where there'll be cricket in the streets and cricket wherever you go, as it was in Barbados when we were growing up, Hartley. I don't know that that's the situation. But did Kenya have enough cricketers to beat West Indies?
Yes, but you see, but Philip, what you have said, Philip, cannot be disputed.
Say all that to say, Hartley, that there are specific programs, developmental programs designed to teach people who are in that environment where it's not what should I say, an enriched environment for whatever it is that you want to learn. There are ways of doing it. Yes, you can teach cricket to anybody who want to learn. And anybody who doesn't understand that needs to do a little bit more research.
And in fact, Philip, just to add a bit to what you're saying, where we in our region is concerned, we don't even have to do what like the Cayman and those, because the girls in Barbados around cricketers. They see the cricket, they like it, and they want to play. All they need is the coaching, the teaching. We here in Barbados, we are so
That's what I'm saying, Hardy. I'm saying that if you can teach cricket,
we don't have.
if you can successfully teach cricket to a group of people who've never seen anybody play cricket except you, surely you can teach cricket to the young ladies in the region who at least see other people playing it around them. Continue.
Yeah, but you're quite right. But what you have to do is to get the administrators to understand that it is not a chauvinistic approach that you can go on to continue to say, well, as a man, you can put all of your money on the men, especially when you know that you have a female component in you under your charge, and that you have accepted the responsibility for it. So if you, and as Cricket West Indies is claiming, they give the territories money for it. So somebody has to give an account for why our women's cricket is at the level it is at. It's a serious problem.
I would also like to see.
So what we do?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. So no. What? No. Let us move on. You were going to think everybody was going to say. Go ahead.
No, I was simply saying I would like to see a more supportive environment. When I listen to those who follow women's cricket closely, more closely than I do. In some cases, in some cases, not necessarily in all, because a person speaks about something, it doesn't necessarily mean they follow it. But in some cases, I know that there are people like yourself who follow women's cricket very closely. There are others. And too often I find the debate is about who's better than who. And yes, there's room for that debate, but sometimes the manner in which it is put over. I really don't. I say to myself, if these women were listening, they wouldn't play anymore. I would like to see a more, okay, for example, you had Alison Gordon, for example, just one example of others, who in the first game for Barbados did very well. Okay? Now, if I have a friend or a family member who goes out to do a job, whatever that job is, and they do well, and they come home and they tell me they did well, I would be inclined to say, well, you tell me which would be better to say, Hartley. Would it be better for me to say, okay, well, that's a very good start. Excellent. Well done. Once you keep working, you will continue to maintain that standard, and you can probably do even more fantastic. That's one option. Another option, I can say, so who you play, but then that's anybody. What purpose does that serve, really? What purpose does it serve? If you understand development, Hartley, professional boxers have been made to understand. Okay? You don't start by boxing, by challenging the fella at the top. You win the world championship. You are not necessarily going to defend your championship the first time by the strongest contender, necessarily. Anybody who understands development understands it's a process. It is pointless, and I would even go as far as to say downright stupid, to be highlighting that type of thing, all right? Degrading the opposition and using that to say, well, you don't really achieve anything. That is foolishness. And this is why I say that if girls are hearing these comments, they will stop playing. It's not encouraging.
But they cannot. I'm going to tell you now, because of technology and screens, something called screenshotting that I can't even get it done. You'll be surprised that the things that are said in chats actually get back to the players, because all it calls for the screenshot, and pass on to the players, and the players know exactly who talking nonsense, because you are trying to be polite, and I accept you because you are an educator. I am not so polite. They are being malicious because their intent, the motives are not honorable. Their motives aren't honorable. And because of that, it don't care what some of the players do. Persons on the sideline would try to negate their gains, achievements for their small-mindedness. So That is our problem. And you call Alison Gordon. Alison
Hardy,
Gordon.
Hardy, I could have called 10 examples. This happened every time
Right.
that I am party to or witness a discussion, especially on women's cricket. It happens every time. So I could have called any number of names, but I just called her name because it's one of the more recent names. But that happens all the time. We downgrade people's effort by saying the opposition is poor. And what I'm saying is that while we do it with men's cricket, and it's equally silly to do it with men's cricket, the consequences with women's cricket will be greater because you have women now who are now trying to learn the game, trying to get some sort of respect in the marketplace in terms of the game. And when you diss them that way, it serves no useful purpose. And we wonder why we're going around in circles. In fact, far from going around in circles, our women's cricket is worse now than it was 5 years ago. And we wonder why. But we, John Public, we are as guilty as any selector, any manager, any board, because we are not supportive.
Philip, in fact, you stated earlier about who has interest and who actually has the authority to actually make pronouncements or statements on women cricket. There are persons who are vocal, very, very vocal, and pronunciating their views. That they have never watched a ball of women cricket, not a ball. They do not know. I smile when I hear them. Sometimes I do not even reply because I recognize what they do. They just talk because they have the forum to contribute, but they do not know anything about the women cricket. Philip, you cannot equate the advancement of women cricket to men. Men have been playing cricket for eons. At one time, it was frowned upon. Women dare not play cricket. As you wanted to play cricket, you were labeled. You were labeled.
There's still that social stigma, if you will, and that resistance, let's say, to the concept of women playing cricket. And what I'm saying is that this sort of behavior by people who claim to be sports people doesn't do anything to solve that. I think you want to embrace. The other thing that I find odd about this whole thing. Yes, we know about the whole fitness thing with men and the fitness tests and all that, and we've used it to destroy people like Hetmar and others who continue to perform in whatever state of fitness they're in to perform for other entities. You know, and we've done that with the men. But again, I say, well, that is not good. We will probably, for the foreseeable future, find 11 decent men to represent us. You know, that know how to hold the bat and how to bowl the ball. All right. If we keep eliminating women on the basis of size and fitness, we will have none. Women's cricket is at a stage of development where everyone, the petite lady who is 65 pounds and the not so petite at 650 pounds, all need to be embraced at this stage of development. And until we understand that, we will continue to eliminate and eliminate until we have no one left. And you got to understand, Hartley, that women,
you see,
men, a man, I mean, it might seem like painting everyone with the same brush, but generally speaking, you can tease a man about his size. And most men will not let it spoil their day.
Oh, yes.
Right or wrong? Hartley, in my experience, women are very sensitive.
You are so true.
So what are we trying to do? Encourage women to play cricket or chase them away?
Very. Women, you have made it, Philip, and it's only because the total ignorance of men. Ignorance. Because you talk about the 65-pound female, but what about Cornwall? Cornwall has done everything to merit his play. He has made runs. He has taken a host of first-class victims. He's one of the best. He has one of the best pairs of hands in cricket. Now, why are you telling me that you cannot see past Cornwall size, but you're going to look for a slim man who does not do anything other than go out there and say that you give him a player. It doesn't make sense. So that's foolishness. But you are quite right. We have to encourage our female cricketers and get them to play the game. I don't care what size you are, play my game. That's all. And you can only play the game if the coaching is right, if the training is right. And our problem is that our training is not right. But it is not right.
Okay, well, Hartley, there's so much to say about women's cricket. We wouldn't get into the who beat who kind of thing in this particular conversation, but I just wanted to get a little your overall perspective on things, and you shared that. I've also shared some of mine, and my desire is to see a more developmental friendly environment. What do I mean by that? That we cut out the negativity which has been associated too much with women's cricket. I know it's there in men's cricket, and that's not good either. But I think I made my point by saying that the stages of development are different, and therefore the consequences are much less with the men. You could actually kill women's cricket dead by the continued approach that I'm seeing coming from those who I would have hoped would know better. Hartley Reid, always good to share and exchange ideas with you. Thanks for joining us, especially at short notice. Thanks for your thoughts on women's cricket, and also for sharing your thoughts on the Late Thelston Payne. Sad loss to Barbados, West Indies cricket, but he has certainly done more than his fair share to help others. And the thing about it is that in listening to some of those who've expressed that view, they talk about him as a mentor. So it's not only the cricket, a mentor, somebody who's there to guide and to help and that you can look up to. And I think if those who are around our women's cricketers, operate in that way as mentors, influencers, if you want to use that term, people to guide and advise, I think we'll do a whole lot better. And of course, more than anything else, people to teach, to coach, to train, whatever word you want to use. Because without that, I don't think women's cricket is going to go very far in the region. So we look forward to.
Let us end by saying, use your word. Let us use your word, influencer. He was an influencer, Philip Hackett.
And we need
his job on earth.
Positive influencers around our cricket, especially at this time in women's cricket. Thanks again, Hartley.
Thank you.
That's our show. Thanks for watching. Join us again soon for another episode of Anything Cricket. Let's talk.